I refused to be talked over in a meeting just now, and I am living for this feeling. I have this meeting I have to attend virtually every morning, and there is one notorious older white guy who talks over everyone, but especially women. And I didn't let him do it to me today. He tried to talk over me and negate my point, but I just kept talking and saying if I may, until he stopped trying, and I got to finish my point. I don't know what I'm going to do with this new superpower, but I think I can take over the world now. Edit. I sincerely can't thank you humans enough for your love and support. We'll edit tomorrow morning with thoughts on why his race was important for this post, but for now, thank you. Thank you. You should point this out to him. Keep saying allow me to finish my statement. Excuse me. Do you mind if I finish my thought? I'm sure you didn't mean it, but you just interrupted me, which makes me feel as though you don't want to hear what I have to say. The first few times are the hardest, but it does work well. They just depend on you being polite and backing off. But that rule is just for people who are polite to you. Yes, people don't realize how effective talking over the person trying to talk over you is. I'm a big fan of I wasn't finished. I'm trying to talk here. Excuse me. I'm speaking right now. When Kamala Harris put Mike Pence on notice by repeating, I'm speaking, every time he interrupted or spoke over her. Every woman in the US felt that. Keep rocking it. My sister, those new wings are beautiful on you. Smile. I saw an article once about a woman who was a team lead at her job, and everyone else on her team was men. She told them one day that every time they interrupted her, she was going to slam her hands on the table. By the end of the meeting, they were all shook because they didn't realize how often they did. Men are just programmed to believe that whatever they have to say is more important. Even the good ones do this. Anytime you have a chance to point it out to them in an effective manner, do it. Dude, I literally just did this a few days ago. Same situation. Older white dude would literally ask me a question, then interrupt me while I was answering him. Every time it happened, I would just stare at him in silence for a second and then continue. So as I was saying, be respectful of decorum. Don't interrupt when someone else is speaking. I'm not done. I'm still presenting my point. Can we talk about it after I finish? I notice you interrupt the presenter all the time. Do you realize how rude and disruptive it is? Behave yourself. Also record and report the instances to HR if that's an option. He might need training to shut up and listen respectfully. I was just watching Terry Cole say she gives people the 1-second finger if they're trying to interrupt. The whole hand if they say something harmful or derogatory. Simple yet brilliant. I can't wait to try it. So happy for you, OP. You should say next time his name, can you not interrupt me and allow me to finish my point? I think saying his name will shock him and make him shut up because you're holding him accountable in the meeting in front of other people. When I have conversations with men and they try to interrupt me, I always say this. You can see them shocked and frustrated, but it's an amazing feeling to take control back of your words and conversation. Woohoo, you rock. I ran out of most of my fucks to give about 3 years ago, so in your situation, which I have been in recently, I just politely said, please don't interrupt me. They immediately stopped and apologized. Nice work. I recall reading that the most powerful statement is, I will listen to you when I'm finished speaking. It allows you to assert yourself without giving away your power. Keep up the great work. Love hearing your story and the others as it gives me ideas to keep in my back pocket for future man-terruptions. Would have been bonus points if you used a South Park-style Canadian accent and kept saying "Can I finish? Can I finish?" rolling on the floor laughing. Went the full Camilla on him. Good for you. Yes, reclaim that power. Reminds me of when Rep. Maxine Waters persisted with her reclaiming my time statement when Mnuchin from Treasury was dodging her questioning. I loved that she wasn't standing for his shit and kept holding his proverbial feet to the fire when it came to her questioning. Women in business have to be cutthroat with our boundaries. Otherwise we get treated like glorified secretaries. Good for you, I'm proud of you. Get yourself a copy of Robert's Rules of Order. Just straight up say at present, I have the floor. When I have finished my point, I will cede the floor. And you may offer a rebuttal. I was in the middle of working with my kid on not interrupting people. So, whenever he'd interrupt, I'd simply look at him and say, "Excuse me. I'm talking," and go back to it. I accidentally did it to a superior at work. Like, instinct just kicked in. The person I was talking to, I finished and then looked at superior. Nothing happened. He waited his turn. I was fucking high from it, LMAO. ETA. For what it's worth. This was in the military. Definitely expected paperwork for being disrespectful. Can you let me finish, please? I find this one effective because it both calls out their behavior and gets them to STFU. I don't get interrupted anymore as I mostly work with other women. But when I worked with men, I used to just keep talking until I was finished. Even if somebody was speaking over me, then I'd observe who was still listening to me instead of immediately flipping to the interrupting man. That's who I hire now that I'm the boss. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Is a full sentence good work, lady? I'm sure you aren't trying to be rude, but can you let me finish? See how he responds to that, lol. Reclaiming my time. I love it. I say, we can discuss all your points once I am done presenting mine, or do you want to take this conversation forward? I can chime in later once you're done so that everyone on the call realizes what's happened. There's a book I read recently called When I Say Number, I Feel Guilty by Manuel J. Smith. It's a great read. And such as that one. It will teach you some other tricks. Watching the live change in up and down votes and wondering which hats are downvoting this. Can only guess it's the older white guys referenced here who just come to troll this sub. If that's the case, I'll jump onto OP's joy train and live for the feeling of gladly say fuck off. Nothing makes me go from zero rage as fast as being interrupted. If they're gonna be rude to me, I'll return it both barrels. Oh, I'm sorry. The middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours. Please carry on, or with as much sarcasm as I can muster. Shame them back into their little boxes. Why are you interrupting me? I'm talking is a good direct retort that's not so aggressive. Nicely done. You've got to put down and shut up people like that. They're the worst. It's almost always some old asshole guy who thinks he's all that. Usually on the merit of having been there forever. My strategy is usually to not acknowledge that they've cut in and continue speaking. Raising the volume of my voice if necessary. I reclaim my time. Yep. I'm speaking. The best response I have ever heard to being interrupted was, I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours?